What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. That was the 3-inch rip squeak on the Brother Hobby 1504.5s with these Gemfan old school 3035s. Pretty good. I'm still having some tuning. I still got to dial the tune in a little bit. You could see on the way down the building there were some shakes and whatnot. Small rigs have a hard time diving buildings like that because the wind is really swirl. This was also a very, very windy day. Here, let me give you guys the rest of this battery. Kind of just farting around in the parking lot while I talk over it. So yeah, this was a very, very windy day. And the tune is pretty close. There were also two big, not big, but two micro failsafes there. When I came down the front of the building, it juddered, and then like 2 seconds went by, and then it juddered again. The way that the rig was sitting coming down the building, the null on this was pointed directly at me. So there was a chance that this rear antenna here might be chopped. Or I was just far away diving a building on RXSR. The setup on the rig is SpeedX GS25 flight. What the hell is that noise? I know, the whole world is shaking right now. SpeedX GS25 ESC, Talon F4 20x20 flight controller, Runcam hybrid, RXSR on regular FR Sky. Oh, look at that! The rear standoff mount broke. That's interesting. And we're down. And a Ishin Nano VTX, and then the Brother Hobby 1504.5s. I also flew this one, which is on the RCX 1306s, and it was really having a hard time with the wind, so I didn't even put more than one battery in. Looks like I went back up. What am I doing? Did I not realize the battery was dead? I guess I didn't kill the battery enough, maybe? This might have been when I was screwing around. Yeah, this is when I was screwing around with the tune. Okay. And so yeah, just getting a little bit of flying in. The field of view on the HD is definitely different on these guys than with a GoPro, and that's a little bit of an adjustment there. But I mean, quality looks good, right? I mean, for something that weighs 200 grams all up, that really kind of couldn't hurt a fly. Hell of a way to dive every and any building safely, right? I mean, you could drop this thing all the way to the ground on top of a car. Obviously, I don't recommend it, but you could drop this down on the top of a car and it would just leave a little dent. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to probably cause an accident or anything like that. So, yeah, man, 200 gram 3-inch rigs. Also, Chris Rosser's new video about prop selection, he graphed out a bunch of different motor and propeller and weight combos, and surprise, surprise, right in my eyes, 200 grams all up weight is perfect for a 3-inch propeller. 250 grams all up weight is perfect for a 3.5-inch propeller. It's almost like I've been saying that for years. What's really interesting is that I got there not using no math, no science, none of that, right? I got to that understanding of weight to prop size by just flying, which is really, really cool, because that, one of the things that I was talking about with Joshua Bardwell's interview with Chris Rosser, Kebab, Bob Brugge, and Ryan Harrell of Mini Quad Test Bench, is that I love that Chris Rosser had a huge amount of engineering experience but not much piloting experience. Ryan Harrell has a huge amount of engineering experience and some piloting experience, and then Kebab has the most piloting experience and a little bit of engineering. It was just a perfect mix. And then Joshua did a really good job kind of kicking it over between the guys so that we would get to see, like, hey, here's the science, but then here's what actually happens in the real world when you test 100 different motor sizes. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. In the chat, LCV FPV, Ram Donko, Frank Nicholas, 05 Alabama, Young Grandpa, Northern Tier FPV, Snoopy FPV, Joey T, Family Guyver, Always Hath Been, Moto Ref, Tannard, Remy Tim, Riot 9, Suave FPV, Ram Donko, Richard, Matthew Savu, Drone Pilot, Michael Blades, Drone Goats, and I think I got everybody, and Patio Patterson. What's up, friends? If you'd like to talk directly to me over here in the chat, you're just going to want to type my name. If you type CiottiFPV, you don't have to put the @ in front of it, but you can. It'll light up in orange, and I'll know that you're talking to me. If you don't do that, I'll assume that you guys are talking amongst yourselves, which you should do because there's some amazing people in the chat. This is my full-time job now. If you'd like to support me, head on over to CiottiFPV.com, and there's a whole bunch of buttons you can click. You can also click some buttons down here below my face right now. Like, subscribe, bell, comment, all that nonsense. But here's how you can really support me. My Patreon page has got the most action going on, lots of really good stuff. It's only a couple of bucks a month, only a few bucks a month to join it, and that really helps me out the most. Here I am on YouTube and Instagram. My Etsy store has a whole bunch of stickers, and pretty soon it's going to have a ton more hardware coming to it. Over on Fiverr, I'm doing flight coaching and flight instruction if you want to fly a little bit better. I've been flying for a little over 4 years. Prior to FPV, I spent almost 10 years in motorsports as a coach there and an instructor, helping people go faster, have more fun. So I've been able to translate those skills over to FPV, and I would love to spend a half an hour with you, kind of taking a look at where you're at now, talking about what you're sort of plateauing on, and just helping you get to that next level, because flying good feels good. And, you know, you go to school for a reason, right? It's so that teachers can help you out because they're more experienced than with you. Kind of the same thing. Also, I'm doing tuning services, video editing, and build services over there. So if you want to build a micro that rips, that goes up and down buildings like that, I can help you do that. You're probably not going to be able to do that alone because most of the micro parts and pieces out there are horrible. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars figuring out which ones are horrible, and yeah, I can impart that knowledge to you. Some t-shirts over on Teespring. Here's what I'm selling over on FPV Exchange, and then a whole bunch of affiliate links. If you ever find yourself doing orders on FPV Cycle, Amazon, Get FPV, I'm a God's website, FPV Crate, and a bunch of others here, if you hit my affiliate link before you do your order, I'll get between 1% and 6% of your entire order. You can still use a coupon code. You can still get free shipping. It doesn't affect anything else the shop that you're ordering from just says, hey, Ciotti, thanks for sending somebody. Here's FPV Exchange. Here's the items that I'm selling over there. These are a bunch of the stickers from the Etsy store. Here's some random stuff that I'm just selling through FPV Exchange itself. And then FPV Exchange is even hooked up to my Fiverr page. Spec out the parts for your drone build, tune your rig for smoothest and stick response. Lots of good stuff. If you're not on FPV Exchange, you're missing out. It's a really, really cool website. It allows you to import everything you've ever bought from RDQ, Get FPV, Pyro Drone, all the big shops, so that you have everything you've ever bought in one spot, and if you decide you want to sell something, you flip a switch and it's for sale. And what's really slick is, when you decide to sell that 3B Hobby 2306 1800 kV motor, when people use FPV Exchange to try to figure out who's selling this motor, your listing is going to be on the top of the list because your price is going to be lower than the shops that sell it new, like Newbie Drone and Banggood in this case, right? So it's the only way that you get on the same selling page as Newbie Drone, RDQ, Banggood, Get FPV, all the shops. So get on over to FPV Exchange. Nevin is a huge supporter of me and this channel. I probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. So support the people that support the content creators that you enjoy, because they're the ones that keep the lights on. You guys obviously help with that as well. But yeah, Nevin has been an unbelievable supporter for a long time now. So support him. It's worth it. He's in an ER all day long, saving actual lives. Pretty good dude. In the chat, the folks that have tagged me so far have said, LCV FPV said, just kidding, just got YouTube notification, gotta throw you some crap. 70 minutes, that's not oh, sorry, please. Ram Dongo says, hello collective, I wiggle through and learn along with you. 05 Alabama says, hello. Northern Tier says, all my whoops are dying and no one has anything, sold out everywhere. That's weird, it's not even whoop season anymore. Family Guyver says, what's up? Ram Donko says, I'm right at the end of the Earthbound SNES game. Cough, cough, FPV stuff. FPV stuff? Really? I think I vaguely remember Earthbound. No, I don't. No, I don't. I remember this. I was getting that confused with this Evolution SNES game that I was all obsessed about, where you would start off as like a fucking amoeba or something, and then you would like evolve into bigger creatures and whatnot. I don't have... That's about all I remember. It's been a long time. Suave FPV saying hello. Michael Blade saying hello. YouTube just did the thing. Jordan Goat saying, I saw that Chris vid, it's awesome. Yeah, Chris Rosser's videos are fantastic, man. You guys got to get on that Chris Rosser train. He's a good dude. Go subscribe. Go give him a thumbs up. Tell him Ciotti sent you. Drop a comment. FPV Trucker says, what's up? Double A says, good evening. CMYK says, yo. And drops the link to the link tree. Thank you, brother. Ricardo Ferreira says, need advice when arming a quad. It takes several tries to arm. It's got FR Sky Archer RS receiver. It does arm eventually. Why? I have no clue. When you're trying to arm it, I actually had I had similar troubles with FR Sky R9. It was very flaky. So it might just be the fact that you're on that crazy FR Sky Archer nonsense. I mean, the only way you can figure it out is if you put the goggles on and look at what the warning messages are. The warning messages should tell you why it's not arming. But I have a funny feeling it's because FR Sky can't seem to do anything right lately. When did the problem start, Ricardo? That's always a very important part of troubleshooting, is like, when wasn't it doing this and what did I change between when it wasn't doing this and when it started, because that's always the problem. Friendly Nomad says, I just learned that FPV Exchange supports multiple FPV YouTube channels. FPV Exchange is really supporting the community generously. Yeah, very much so. Nevin is a super generous dude, and he's supporting a lot of us content creators. So many reasons to jump over there and just sign up for free and import your stuff and just start using the website. Because it's really cool. And if a whole shitload of us start using that website, it'll just get better and better and better, right? The more we use it, the better the website is. Danko says, I'm playing using the SNES Mini. That's cool. Jordan Pilot says, I have this one 10-inch rig where RTH Dolphins. What's that mean? The raw power has it happening with 100 meters each punch and dive. It is actually very scary because of the weight and speed. Can't find the fault because the black box doesn't record anymore for some reason. That's weird. Black box, I've never had black box refuse to record. That's interesting. FPV Trucker says, ordered another glide frame today. Forgot your link. Don't kill me. It's all good, FPV Trucker. I forget to use my own link, so I can't blame you guys for even a second for not remembering. Ram Danko says, so I'm very budget picky, so T12 ERM X may be next controller for indoors, that is. T12 ERM. I'm not sure what that is. Ricardo says it's a new build. This arming issue started from the start, and I'm not too close to it. Yeah, if it's a fresh build, you're just gonna have to go by whatever the warnings are. The OSD warnings. Make sure you have your OSD warnings turned on, obviously, and then put the goggles on, arm it, and hopefully it'll give you a warning in there and let you know what the hell's going on. But yeah, like I said, I've had similar issues with FR Sky where it just there's just no reason for it. It just doesn't work sometimes. Veritas Riesel saying greetings, and just like that, I'm caught up on chat. Friendly Nomad says, I have a friend who has mental health issues, but they won't talk about it. Sounds about right. Do you have any advice to help break the ice or make it easier to talk about? Off the top of my head, mention to that friend me and my struggles and my group, FPV Therapy. Friendly Nomad, you go on to FPV Therapy, read some of our stuff if you haven't already. Read some of the stuff that we share, some of our stories, to get if you haven't already, to just kind of get you in the headspace, and then even just doing that will give you ideas of how to talk to that person. But yeah, it's a totally like chill thing, right? To just be like, hey, you know, I mean, you're gonna have to find a way to kind of weasel it into the conversation. I mean, if you're talking about FPV, then you can like transition that into like, you know, this guy that I watch all the time, who struggles. Yeah, hopefully I already got you kind of close to, but yeah, I find it's, you know, if you can kind of talk about something else that's sort of adjacent to what it is, that'll give that other person a bunch of opportunities to kind of jump in and be like, yeah, I know that, I feel that, right? And then you can maybe like if they don't know that you know, kind of thing, right? And that'll give them an opportunity to be like, oh yeah, I feel that. You can kind of play dumb and be like, oh really? I didn't know that. Or, you know, like just be like real gentle. I mean, to be honest though, you could probably just full on say it to them. But it really does depend. A lot of people are very jaded, because they've tried to talk to it. They've tried to talk about it to normies, and they've gotten shut down, and they've gotten like, oh, just feel better, or they've gotten, yeah, oh, it can't be that bad, or something like that. So yeah, there's a bunch of ideas for you, and yeah. Feel free to have them jump over to the Facebook group too. Hell, I mean, if oh, you know what you could also mention is Healthy Gamer on YouTube. You could go with something like, you know, my buddy Ciotti, the live streaming buddy, whatever, has been talking about this Healthy Gamer dude on YouTube, and I actually checked out one of his videos, and it's really awesome, right? Just try to like be on that, like right next door to what you're trying to talk about, and just give that person a bunch of opportunities to kind of jump in, or just and even if they don't, right, you're letting them know that you're not a normie. You're not a person that's going to say to them, oh, just feel better, oh, just cheer up. where the hell were you? Why the hell did you ditch out on me, right? And it might take a couple times. You know, you might have to do that a few times, but eventually they'll more than likely let their guard down and be a little bit vulnerable with you, and be willing to talk about it, because it is a, yeah, it can be a very sensitive subject for a lot of people that deal with it, just because of the stigma around it, and just because of how shitty a lot of people are at like understanding it. So go with that, and if you have any other questions, just shoot me a message anywhere. CiottiFPV all over the place. Shoot me a message. Always willing to talk about that stuff with you, man. You're a really good human for caring. I want you to know that. Like, for real. Most people just, you know, I don't have it, I don't care. Because it's hard. So yeah, the fact that you care at all, it's a big deal, man. Be proud of that. I wish there were more people like you. Halfboard says, if I can hover, but the quad dips out towards the left front prop constantly as I get going, is that just a dead ESC? I already replaced the motor. Probably not a dead ESC yet, Halfboard. It doesn't sound like it's full-blown dead, but sounds like it's dying. If you already replaced the motor, usually before replacing the motor, what I'll recommend, so it's on your left front, I know this is right for you guys, but if it's on your left front, take the right front motor and swap them, and then see if the problem follows. You kind of did the same thing replacing the motor, though. So, I mean, it's pretty rare that you'll replace a motor and the motor you replace it with is also bad. So yeah, the ESC is probably on its way out. If you just keep flying the ESC, eventually that channel will pop all the way. So you can probably get a little bit more life out of the ESC. You're going to replace it anyway, so maybe just get it out of there. Veritas Weasel says, sometimes with FR Sky it drops out and the sky is falling. Drone Pilot says, RTH equals return to home, right? And then Dolphins, as in return to home, climbs and dives trying to find the altitude. Okay. Gotcha. That's interesting. Crazy long-range stuff. Monolize says, anyone has the latest guide to set up PIDs and filter, especially RPM filtering? Monolize, there typically aren't really guides to that because everything changes so often. Especially, and you're definitely not really going to find guides for PIDs and filtering, because it's very specific to each particular rig. I talk about all of these things as often as I possibly can on these live streams to educate you guys and to field your questions and stuff like that. I do have a couple of articles on my Patreon page, which are basically like very, 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 very simplified filter tuning, step by steps, and PID tuning, step by steps. So there's some content over there for you. To be honest, though, a lot of it is you just got to sort of learn it. Like, you just got to do a couple searches here on YouTube for PID and filter tuning and Betaflight, 4.2, and just watch a bunch of people. Watch Mark Spatz, watch Joshua Bardwell. I've got some info here and there. Like, if you see my live streams that are talking about, like, Betaflight setup, I have a bunch of streams where, like, so if you go into my videos, there's a little search field, so you can search for, like, Betaflight or search for the word setup. And yeah, I've had a bunch of streams where I've gone through Betaflight top to bottom when I've been building, like, a new rig and kind of setting it up. And we'll do a little bit of that tonight here as well. As we get the 75mm whoops kind of dialed in and sort of figured out. So yeah, it's unfortunately there's not like a one-stop shop where you can just go there and within 5 minutes know everything that you need to know about RPM filtering, PIDs filtering. It's just hard. It's just a difficult. Yeah, I mean, it took me many years to figure it out. That was back before we had so many resources as we do now. Now is a much better time to try to figure that out. Plus, the flight software is way, way, way better now. But it's going to take some time. It definitely takes some time, but it's very gratifying work. And it's very important too, because once you have an understanding of how the filters work, how the PIDs work, you can build pretty much anything and get it up in the air and then get it dialed in so that it flies really good. So it's well worth the time spent. You just have to spend the time. You just have to be a sponge for a little while and just suck up as much information as you can, and then just try stuff. Just, you know, go into your OSD and change the PIDs around. Like, don't be afraid to try stuff. There's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt surrounding filter tuning and PID tuning, for good reason, because you can blow up ESCs, you can blow up motors, but man, is it rare. And it's pretty obvious. Like, if you arm the quad and it doesn't sound clean and it's making like brrr kind of sounds, or it's just moving around and it's just not, if the quad's not smooth, something's going on. When you arm it, it should be nice and chill. The motor should spin like relatively slowly. There should be no chaos. If there's chaos, something is wrong. Disarm it. If you start flying it and it's being weird and moving all around and making a weird noise, disarm it. Get it down. And then the other big key is every time you make a change, you take that rig off, you let it hover for a couple seconds, you bring it back down, you walk over to it, you pick it up, and you touch the motors. And you make sure that the motors aren't really hot. The motors will get a little bit warm, but they should not be hot. You should be able to grab the motor and hold it. If you come over to it and you grab the motor and go, Jesus, that's way too hot. Like, you should just be able to sit here and hold this motor without pulling your fingers off of it for, I don't know, 5-10 seconds. If it's anywhere near the point where you're like, I kind of want to pull my fingers off of it, that's too hot. So yeah, try not to be afraid of it. Play around with it. Be a sponge, and you'll figure it out in no time. DJ is in the house. He says, how's it going? Ramdanko says, you're great with getting it normal equals stigma, etc. I'm trying, Ram. It's tough. June Loco says, what's up? Matthew Savu says, CiottiFPV is the best. Thank you, Matthew. Chris Croft says, I've been talking to Nevin about some promos he wants to do for FPV Exchange in Australia. That's very cool. Very cool. Drone Goat says, your tune of the whoops last week, do you think it will work on a Beta 95X V2 with a naked GoPro on? Absolutely not, Drone Goats. If you tried to put my whoop tune on anything other than a really low-powered whoop, it would pretty much blow up instantly. So the tune that I showed, I almost didn't show you guys that tune last week because I was afraid of this exact thing happening. It's why I don't typically show you guys my tunes. Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely, the tune that I showed you guys is very, 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 very specific to my 65mm tiny whoop. If you're not using an AIO that's as good quality as what I have, the newbie drone one with the MPU 6000, your shit's gonna blow up. If you don't build as clean as I do, your shit's gonna blow up. If you don't use fresh propellers, your shit's gonna blow up. That is a really, really, really locked in, aggressive tune. Hey, I also wanted to give a shout out to Kevin Young, Dingles here on YouTube. I think I gave him his shout out on the birthday stream, but I'd rather shout somebody out twice. He sent me $40, 40 for 40, on my 40th birthday 2 weekends ago. A lot of folks PayPal'd me $40 for the 40 years I've managed to survive on this crazy planet. And I just wanted to make sure that I gave Kevin Dingles the shout out, because when I was giving the shout outs, I was deleting the emails, and I didn't delete that email, so yeah, better safe than sorry. Daniel Forth just became a $3 patron. Thank you, Daniel. Welcome to the collective, my man. I assume that you're in here somewhere. And Imperative edited their pledge. Thank you, brother. Thanks for the support. A little earlier today. I don't know if he's in here or not. Chomper FPV is here. He says, what's up? Horrible day of flying today, but it's okay. I don't know if it makes you feel any better, Chomper, but I actually had I've had a couple bad days of flying recently, but yesterday was not one of them. I went out with my good friend Patrick P. Richard Scott here in the chat, and it was a really good little session. I was kind of in the zone. I'm taking the GoPro out right now to show you guys, because yeah, it was a good one. and I got a little more talking to do, and you guys can maybe enjoy some of the flying while I flap my big stupid gums some more. Here it comes. Let's get that going. Let's get this going. Untitled DCIM GoPro, and is this it? Yeah, it is, from the session 4. Alright, let me just pull the chat over here so that I can play this for you guys. Let me make sure this isn't the battery that I was being all crazy in. It was a little bit crazy. There we go. Alright, cool. So I'll just talk over this. I don't know why there's no audio. I don't know where the hell the audio is. But whatever. Oh, there it is. I just had to turn it down. What else do we have going on here in the chat? Ricardo Ferrer says, do you know Diatone Teeny Whoop? Is it okay? It seems okay. Yeah, I don't really understand what it's for. Like, I just don't know what the intended use for that particular rig is. But it seems okay. It's, I try to have like an intended purpose for most of my rigs. And for that particular rig, like, I just can't figure out like a really good way to use it, or like a really good HD cam to pick up with it, or whatever. God. Forgot about that one. But yeah, it seems like a pretty good rig. Diatone makes good stuff, so. DJ says, also supporting Xenakis FPV, just got some new hardware from him today. Love the exchange. Very cool. DJ is taking advantage of a really cool website there. Monolize says, thank you for the roundup. I will only fly 1S, so I guess at least motor temps are my least problem. You'd be surprised, Monolize. Motor temperatures will get up there on 1S just as much as anything else. Apparently I broke the microphone on this session 4 just now because it's making a very strange hissing noise now in the... That's so weird. Scott Abrams says, what do you mean by aggressive tune? It's a really good question, Scott. Aggressive tune as in a very, like, P gains are raised up from stock, D gains are raised up from stock. What you're looking at here on my 5-inch rig is a very aggressive tune. It's locked in all the time. It never wobbles. When I do stuff like this, ready? Well, yeah, I mean, there's no wobble in there, but let me look for a really snappy moment. Eventually I'll do a big snap. Here we go, ready? No, that was pretty gentle. See how there's no wobbling, there's no nonsense, it's just everything is nice and smooth. This is an aggressive tune. At some point here, I will I'll do something with a big pop of either roll or pitch. There you go. So you see how that didn't wobble at all? It was just totally locked in on that entire rotation. I'll do something on the pitch axis before long. Here we go, ready? I'll do something gnarly here. Or I'll just smash right into that tree, I remember that. Hold on. There are plenty of good examples of it, I just have to find one. Here you go, ready? See how that snap, see how on that snap there was no bobble? Ready? Pitch back, pitch forward hard. See how it just like snap, and there's no wobble, no nothing. That's an aggressive PID tune. That's what I use to describe that. See that? See when I snapped inverted, there was absolutely no bounce back, no wobble, no nonsense. That's an aggressive PID tune. The stock tune with most motor and prop combinations is a little bit soft, and you'll get like a little bit of bounce back, and it's just not like fully locked in. So yeah, that's what I mean when I say aggressive pit tune. Of course, this UPS guy was super cool. What else do I have here? It was a really fun day flying. I love flying with Patrick. He's a super cool dude. Ooh, that was really close. I didn't realize this would be so close. Ready? That kind of caught me off guard. License to Drive says, keeping an eye on Hobby King 3D filament in case there's another sale, but all their 3D filaments went up by 20% yesterday. Do you think this is linked to the impending price hikes? Yeah, apparently everything is going to get more expensive here this year, so that it would not surprise me. Although, to be fair, I don't know a thing about 3D printing, so kind of talking on my ass there. Friendly Nomad says, I'm now your patron. Thanks for all the great content and wisdom. Thanks for the support, Friendly Nomad. That's very cool. Enjoy the content. One of the coolest things that you can do is hit Tech Talk. When you go to my homepage, there's a couple of like tags on the top there. Tech Talk is a tag that's got all of the tech articles that I've written, and there's some really good stuff in there. So check that out, and then yeah, lots of good stuff coming, and constantly popping up on the Patreon channel there. Welcome to the collective, my friend. What else do we have? Ricardo says, looking at your video, I realize how much I suck at flying. One day, kudos for all your skills. Ricardo, it's just time, man. It's just, you know, I've spent literally thousands of hours flying. If you haven't spent thousands of hours flying, there's no reason that you should be this good. And if you are this good without flying for thousands of hours, then I hate you. Yeah, it's just there's no like physical feedback, right? We have to do everything visually. We get a little bit of audio feedback. Like, this is a very hard thing to do, man. It's really, really hard to fly these things. And you can practice, you can like look up and talk to people that fly really good. You can do my coaching, you know, my instruction services. I can definitely help you out. But in the grand scheme of things, you just have to pour time into it, man. The coaching and the instruction stuff, like, you actually won't believe how helpful that actually is. With any activities that are like very technical and very skilled, people that have done it for a ton of time have a lot of little nuggets that have taken them like 100 hours to figure out, that they can just tell you in like 10 words. And that's where the coaching and the instruction really does help out. But one of the big things that I do is give you some drills and give you some stuff to work on so that you can pour time into the right things, because that's really going to be the biggest game changer. So, you know, even if you don't work with me on instruction and coaching, just pouring time in is most of it anyway. It's just, you know, there are ways to pour time into it that net quicker results, basically. Every single time I come down, I want to hit that railing gap, but man, if I get it wrong, it's going to be one hell of an explosion. So yeah, man. And also, hey, I was worse than you at one point, right? Like, it's not your first day flying. I had a first day flying, so I was worse than you at some point, and I was just so stubborn that I just poured hundreds and thousands of hours into it. A lot of simulator time. Simulator is a huge key to getting better fast. And yeah, you just do it. You just got to be stubborn, and you just got to hammer and put lots of time in. There's Patrick. Alec Dvornik says, hope you're doing well. What motors are you testing tonight? I think you're making it through all of them now. Almost, yeah. We're going to check some 0803s tonight, 1102s, 1103s, and maybe even a set of 1202s. I wanted to fly under Patrick's Jeep, but I wasn't getting my altitude under control quick enough, so I just disarmed. And then I got very stuck in this tree. Veritas Riesel says, I have a Mavic Air 1 Fly More brand new, never opened. What's the best way to sell it? How much do you think I should ask? Oh man, I have no clue, Veritas. I don't know anything about any of the photography drones. I would just go to eBay and type in Mavic Air 1 Fly More and see what everybody else is selling them for on eBay, and then just go that route. Northern Tier says, what is your choice radio? Northern Tier, I have a 4.5-year-old Tyrannus QX7 that I've had from the beginning that cost me $100, and it's been awesome. I'm on my second set of Hall sensor gimbals, and I have big long fingers, so that big wide radio really works well for my big long gangly fingers. So yeah, that's what I use. I run it on Crossfire, so there's a module bay in the back, so like all these fancy new radios with their fancy color screens, like I get it, it's cool, but I don't know, QX7 for life for me. Alec Dvornik says, what brand motors? It's going to be a mix of Beta FPV, Happy Model, and Newbie Drone. Newbie Drone 1202s, Beta FPV 1102s, I believe Beta FPV 0803s. We're going to dive in a second here. Cool. We are caught up enough that I'm going to bust all of the Tiny Whoop stuff out. Hey, also, so we are going to do an hour here publicly, and then we're going to swap over to a Patreon stream. So basically what I do is stream every day for the most part. Every once in a while I'll take a day off, like every other week or so. But for the most part I stream every day. Public streams are typically anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. Sometimes if I'm being lazy, I'll stream for 2 or 3 or 4 hours publicly. But what I try to force myself to do is the public streams for 30 to 60 minutes, chop that off, and then an after-party Patreon stream for another hour or two. So if you want to get even more content from me on a daily basis, more than the half an hour or 60 minutes that I give away for free, it's going to cost you $3 whole a month. CiottiFPV.com, and then the very top button is Patreon. Come on over. There's a lot more value than $3 a month over on my Patreon page, I promise you. License to Drive says, those Zing 1202 motors I won from you have cost me about $160 so far. Flight controller, shark bite, VTX, camera, building an HD toothpick. Very cool. License to Drive. I like to try to stimulate the FPV economy by giving away only one little part of a build, and then people have to buy the rest. Cool. So let's get cracking on some motor testing over here. Let's move some of this nonsense out of the way. And all right, so we want the bag with the 75mm frames, which is that bag there, and then I also need this bag with the flight control or the AIOs in it, and then I think that's about it. Nope, I need to get some batteries charging, and I don't have any. Yeah, balls. Forgot about the whole battery thing. That's okay. Let's get a bunch of these guys out of here, and we'll get them charging. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay. So, oops. Hopefully the computer didn't just freak out. So we got a couple of these silly Ovonic 450s, and then I got this crazy Talon 2S. Alright, so I'm going to charge the Talon 500, the Talon 450s, and this GNB 450. So that's 6 batteries. That'll be plenty for us to do this testing here. Charger is over here. And I've got a battery that I can use here. Come on! Okay. So I'm going to hook this guy up here. I'm going to hook this fella up here. What is this battery? This is a 4S 650, so it'll probably have enough juice for 6 of these 1S 450-ish batteries. Probably not quite, but that's all right. Okay, get these guys all hooked up here, and then we can get started. Awesome. All right, batteries are charging. And get this rip squeak out of here. Okay, no, that's good. All right, so here we go. Let's dive into this. Here is my current 75 millimeter motor-to-motor tiny whoop with a V2. Unfortunately, these motors are soldered directly to this V2 board, and the gyro on the V2 board is a little hyperactive. So these are the Happy Model 1102 19,000 kV motors. These are going to be the last motors I test because they're direct soldered. I might not even have time to test these tonight. I have a funny feeling that I won't, but you never know. Let's just start working and we'll see where the night takes us. This is the AIO board that we're going to be using for the testing, as is that. And then we're going to be using these Newbie Drone Goober canopies. I would love to solder on these solid pin PH 2.0s, but I'm actually not gonna. Because all I really want to know is which set of motors makes the most power and is the smoothest. And we'll be able to tell smoothness by the tune itself. So I'm not too concerned about that. So we've got 3 different Cockroach 75 frames. This frame currently has the Beta FPV 0803. Oh man, these are only 1200 kV, so I'm gonna have to run these guys on 2S. So that means I need to swap out a couple of those batteries. Okay, so let me take 2 of these batteries off. Let me take the GNB batteries off. Now, let me leave the GNB batteries on. I'm going to take the Talon 450 batteries off. There's 1, and there's 2. And I'm going to replace these on the charger with, what are these other batteries? 500 milliamps. So I'm going to replace them with double 250 milliamp batteries. But I got to make sure that they're good. Oh, let me dig into the Newbie Drone Gold stash over here. I've got a sack of Newbie Drone Gold batteries. So let's grab a couple of the 250s out of here. There's a 250. There's a 250. There's a 250. There's a 250. Okay. That way the total amount of milliamps will be 1-to-1. 500 versus 2S 250, basically, right? That also means on one of these boards, I need to hook up a 2S connector. Man, that's really annoying. But I guess I gotta do it. Because I'm very curious whether or not 0802, oh man, these two GNB batteries are already done. That means they've been sitting there charged for eons. Oh wait, no, they're not both GNBs. 4.22, 4.26. Whoops. Yeah, I'm gonna swap out the power lead on one of these boards so that I can run it on 2S, because I am also very curious about 2S on these tiny whoops with double 250 mAh batteries. But Dirtson says the Newbie Drone bag of holding. Yeah, right. Justin says, will a 65mm cockroach frame work for a direct transfer of a Mobula 6? Unfortunately not. Broke the battery bay area of 2 Mobula 6 frames in the span of 5 flights and want to try something different. Unfortunately not, Justin. Happy Model, in their infinite lack of wisdom, put the camera port in a really stupid spot on their AIO, and yeah, you have to use the Happy Model frames. It's very frustrating. You can technically use a Cockroach 65 frame, but the AIO will hit the frame, and that'll dump extra vibrations into the AIO, and then it'll fly like ass. So yeah, you just got to get replacement Happy Model frames. It's very, very frustrating, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with that. It sucks, dude. It really does. All right. And then on this one over here, these are Beta FPV 1102 18,000 kV motors. So let's do this first. Let's throw this together with one of these AIOs first. We'll get a quick win going, and see how it flies. Okay. I don't know why there's just one single screw in back here, but you know, I do strange stuff sometimes. Oh, here's another one. All right. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So I need the I'm gonna need my little adapters. Man, I am really tempted to swap out this power lead. In order for this to be a fair, yeah, I kind of have to. I kind of have to swap out this power lead. Let me see how much length is kind of needed here. Well, you know what? Since these guys have the right angle on them, we're gonna be fine. Let's just jump into it, and we'll swap this power lead out, and then we'll move on to the next. So this is kind of, I'm gonna have to pull this guy off just to get access to where the power lead is, which is fine. So let's just get that old fella out of the way. And then, so what do we got? Negative on the inside, positive on the outside. All right, that's simple enough. Got a little bit of solder. I'm just gonna be, so this is from tinywhoop.com. Jesse Perkins actually makes these by hand, and the fact that it's got that little 90 on there is just fantastic. And then this is a solid pin here, so it works really, really well. Although I've heard apparently the batteries can get a little bit stuck on here. Let me see, I think there's like little nubs. And then there's something going on with the nubs. Oh my god. Oh my god, yeah, okay. That's Jesus, what? Okay. I'm glad I tested this before hooking it up to the rig. Okay. Jeez. Oh wow. That's really on there, huh? Oh boy. Bueller? Oh, geez, there we go. Okay. So let me figure out what I'm gonna do about that. I think I just need to, like, man, I don't know if I have a file that's fine enough to get in there. Just gotta knock on it. There must just be a really sharp edge on the top of this little slot here. Let me see if I can just jam this in here and just kind of like round that shit off a little bit. Wow, that's crazy. It looks like that might have done the job. Do it on the other side, and then we'll test it. Okay. Looks all right. See if that's a little better. Scott with a $2 super chat. He says throttle won't hit 100%, stops at 95%. Scott, go into your receiver tab and change your endpoints. That is where the problem lies. So now, when I plug it in, Jesus, it still locks in there like crazy. Okay. What am I going to do about that? I mean, I guess I just file it more. I guess I just keep on filing it. Like, I want it to hold the battery lead, but I can't have it holding it too hard. That's going to be a nightmare. And it, like, the pins going into the little thingies kind of hold it plenty on their own. It's funny, I'd read about this in the reviews of the item, and I thought, how bad could it be? It's real. It really does lock in there. Holy cow. Using my 5X loop here just to kind of take a quick look. Oh yeah, I definitely took some of the plastic off, so let's try again. Much better. Much, much better. Yeah, I think that's about right. Let me try another battery. Let me try one with a connector. Ramdonko says, any examples of 16 by 16 stuff? No. I don't. I did one 16 by 16 build a long time ago, and on the Maiden it got run over, which was tragic. But other than that, I haven't really touched 16 by 16 since then. It was a very challenging build. It was really, really difficult to build that small. So I was kind of turned off to it, to be completely honest. How much weight is there really? I guess my main thought is, like, how much lighter could a 16 by 16 stack really be than like a 20 by 20 stack? I'm sure it's a little bit lighter, but I'm going to shut that duck up in a second. That duck also represents the point where we go over from a public stream to a Patreon stream. If you'd like to see me do some more of this motor testing here tonight, hop onto Patreon. There's about to be, well, if you're on the Patreon, you already got the notification. Let me make sure I get caught up on the chat here, though. License to Drive says, did you read about reducing frame vibrations by putting tape between the arms and the main plate? Barbara Lee and others have been posting about it on FPV Cycle Facebook group. Yeah, I have been seeing that. And there's even apparently some specific tape that there's some specific vibration reducing tape that I'm willing to bet Bob will have, like, custom little bits cut of, so we'll see how that goes. Z Corella says, what do you think of my 75mm frame design? I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I haven't seen your 75mm frame design, Z. Shoot me a picture or info or whatever, and I'll take a look for sure, though. Justin says, thanks for the response. You're certainly welcome. Doc says, you can use the Meteor 65 frame with the Mobula 6 board. It's what I use on mine. Has a more robust battery bay. There you go. That is a really good thing. I forget who was asking about that, but Meteor 65 frame. There you go. B-Man saying, hey, Ramdago saying, I love silly build reviews. Could be fun. Equals novice design review. I don't know what that's referencing, Ram. And then that's where I was caught up. Scott, if you have any other questions about your throttle that won't hit 100%, shoot me a message. CiottiFPV anywhere you'd like. Yeah. So I'm going to chop this stream, and I'm going to jump over to our after party live stream. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the support. I'm waiting for the internet. Come on, internet. You can do this. You got it, internet. You got it. Let's do this together. Come on. Come on. There it is. Please. Please. There it goes. Z says you're working on it. Oh, these Cockroach 75 frames are amazing, dude. They're fantastic. Not a single complaint. I mean, I guess technically it could be a complaint that the newbie drone boards are the only ones that work on it, but that's not your fault. That's these other idiots' faults. Happy Model putting the video connector for their board in a stupid spot. Beta FPV putting the motor connectors in a stupid spot. So yeah, zero complaints on the frame itself. All my complaints are towards Beta FPV and Happy Model for making their AIOs non-standard and not able to work with this frame, which is a shame, but luckily some really cool folks here in the chat were willing to sell me a couple of V1 newbie drone boards, because these are really the only Whoop boards that are worth anything at this point. And of course they work perfectly in this frame. So yeah, great frame, Z. Great frame. Wow. YouTube, please. There we go. Okay, got it. Yep, end of this stream. Thanks for hanging out. Here's a little bit more flying. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. We'll do another public stream for an hour-ish. And then, yeah, spend some time together on Friday as well. 5-inch Friday. Coming at you. Thanks for hanging, people. Be good. Here's some flying.